that
So
makes a lot of sense.
it is still a flex for the Maokai, but we've only seen, what, like one Maokai support at Worlds, I want to say?
It's much less common.
It's very likely going to be Kingen Maokai. I do really like aggressive AD pairings with Maokai because anytime we see like Maokai plus Poppy or whatever, you just don't really have enough damage even though you do have the lockdown. When you bring in something like a Graves, a lot of the carry pick answers that you would want to play into the Maokai can really be threatened by this combo because Maokai has the lockdown, Graves brings the damage, and that 1-2 punch is very, very powerful. And it looks like they're banning some of those answers. A lot of these LPL teams do love Sejuani plus 3 melee on top side, so going to be taking that away for sure.
Sejuani's also one of those big meatballs like Maokai that can sort of give you even ground to clash on there in the front
Meatball
lines.
on meatball action.
Exactly. Just a whole big bowl of meatballs, but not today. Renekton also banned out by the side of DRX, as Renata Glass and Kalista are both banned out, so they will knock that AD carry pool just a little bit lower. And the Lulu is the support
Are
lock.
we getting Deft Jinx? I feel like we're getting Deft Jinx. That's
what
I'm feeling. We'll see. I mean, they're already going heavy team fight.
Could be.
The Enchanter comes in. I mean, it could be a lot of options. You could go Aphelios, you could go a lot more standard stuff.
There's a lot of stuff as an option.
But Deft Jinx is the throwback. This guy just doesn't seem to lose on the champion. We're getting Ornn. Okay, so it is going to be meatball on meatball action up in the top lane. Viego coming through, so AD junglers will be matched. Viego obviously really, really powerful when you're playing from ahead in these early skirmishes. You get that one reset, you can take over. We've seen it time and time again. But Viego can really get out farmed by the Graves pretty heavily. So I do feel like this matchup can be tough at times if you start to fall behind. You don't necessarily keep that relevance.
I don't know if I like Misfortune Lulu.
There's just not enough lockdown. It's only the Maokai, really, to hold you in place. MF in general, I actually am really curious to see, but MF had been doing horrible in the group stage. I'm really curious to see if it's actually picked up any wins that I'm misremembering. But last I had looked, this was actually winless at Worlds, and yeah, 0-4 in the group stage at Worlds. So Deft gonna be looking for the first win on it. To be fair, it hasn't always been the top teams that are actually playing it. FBI played it, Deft did play it once, FBI twice, and Berserker once. So 3 of the losses are, from NA teams, 1 of them is from Deft. And we'll see, that was their only loss actually was when he was playing it. I just don't think they have enough lockdown to justify the pick.
For context, when we talk about MF, a lot of their damage ultimately we believe comes from their ultimate, right?
Yeah.
It's a massive AoE, a lot of damage available to you. The problem is you need them to stand in it. And when we talk about crowd control, that's one of the most important things. She often ties into wombo comps very well. Yeah. She often also pairs up quite well with aggressive supports because she can have a lot of agency in the early laning phase. Yeah, exactly. Muminolus, Leona, they're all very common combos because they give that initial CC and then she can throw down that bullet time. Hey-ho, a lot of damage. Here, though, when you have Graves, Azir, Maokai, you had such a good scaling topside to not pair it with something like an Aphelios, which is quite typically safe side, also pairs well with the Lulu, something like the Jinx. These are all, while slightly more losing matchups, do make more sense in the context of the comp. So Deft has to have a lot of confidence in this pick if he is gonna lock this one in when this is an opportunity for DRX to secure first place in the group.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, as far as like the damage profile of the composition, I still do like it overall. One of the big problems I had with some of the MF comps, especially from the NA teams that we saw earlier, was MF was kind of trying to carry the heavy weight of taking down a frontliner.
Yeah.
In this draft, it's not really the case. You have both Graves and Azir who can help you to punch through that Ornn. So Ornn is not going to be this immovable brick wall that MF just can't deal with because you do have that backup. You have a lot of DPS coming from mid and jungle. But we'll see how he's going to be able to get it done because it is a lethal tempo MF here.
We have an early sweeper start from Mark, just making sure that they're getting rid of some of those lane wards placed down by DRX. So those are out of the picture now. You can see a couple of player icons a little bit close to each other on the top side of the jungle, but doesn't look like we're going to get any level 1 wildness just yet.
Also, it is important to note that Knight did get XP for that. So they predicted that the ward was there. They moved Knight down to actually get the level 1 XP off that. So he's going to get level 2 off the first wave here. So a good read. It is a very common lane ward in range versus range. People want to control that side brush. It's so important. So they have the read. They pull down Knight. We'll see if he can get anything off the slightly earlier level 2.
But you would expect Zeka to be aware of that fact. Like they saw that they took it. He shouldn't be caught off guard, I would expect. But you know the DRX are not going to want top to be able to run away with the bottom lane like they did in the previous game. But of course, it's a very different experience. Lucian Nami versus Draven Blitzcrank. Lucian Nami might be aggressive, but Draven Blitzcrank is just pure solo queue sauce, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would also say that while Lucian Nami is a really strong, like, early kind of in quotes lane, it often needs a couple levels under its belt. And to me, it's much more of like a one-item spike type of lane. When you hit Mandate and you hit Gale Force, that is the strongest time in the game, I feel like, generally for that duo. Whereas, you know, Draven Blitz really do have more of that, like, level 1, we can kill you as long as we hit that hook.
My eyes across the map right now, and especially where the junglers are, have their eyes set. You can see that Tian pathing up towards the top side of the map, looking to cover for this Ornn who has that initial push. Will likely convert that into the Scuttle Crab, doing it mostly full clear for the time being, as Graves doing the exact same thing on the other side, pathing more towards the bot side. So it looks like that we're in for a pretty more standard, slower early game overall. Nothing too crazy compared to what we have been seeing with the likes of GAM and top esports in our last few games, which does mean that overall this early game expected to be slower. And a reminder of the stakes once again, top esports, they cannot secure a spot in the quarterfinals. However, DRX with a win will lock first seed in this group. And we'll end up going 3-0 on the day, which I think when you think about expectations coming into the tournament, it's always talked about how Korea have a tendency to make it out of the group stage, right? They are just very good.
They are adept.
They're just good. But when you looked at DRX, the 4th seed, I mean, even the LCK analysts that were coming over there like, yeah, we don't think DRX is that good. People expected it to be top esports and then Rogue DRX fighting for that 2nd seed. The fact that DRX is in this position just goes to show how much growth they have made. The top esports is looking to get aggressive themselves. Great trade from Kingen there in the 1v1.
Nicely done. Wayward has been controlling the matchup here so far, but that turret shot will tip things back. But they do have Tian nearby to force this dive if they can make it happen.
No wave right now. They need to get this underneath the tower, but this is just buying more time. The Graves hovering around the bot side of the map. Can he kill that minion? Stop the dive?
Yep, it only takes one turret shot, then it's
Beautiful.
gone. Nicely done. Nicely done from Kingen, keeping himself safe there.
Yeah, he managed the wave beautifully there. The Shroud gonna stop the
It'll expire, won't it?
Yeah, it will. The ping comes down.
And the Shroud actually got him. So that's actually so annoying. I love that little play there. He's going to TP back anyway, and the wave won't be there before he actually can TP back. So takes a second, stops the recall there of Tian, which buys time for Pyosik to steal the Raptors, because now you know, all right, he's been delayed a good 8-10 seconds coming back for base. There's not going to be any sort of a challenge on that, and that's the kind of little follow-up that you always want to see from teams. Good communication.
Yeah, it's exactly like the thing we were talking about earlier on the other side with top esports saying like, oh, hey, yeah, they made sure they got the EXP for the ward at level 1. Just the smallest things. Last game, we were talking so much at the end about how those 2 auto attacks on the Nexus could have been the difference in everything at the tournament for top esports. So you've always got to wonder, every little inch, every little micro advantage you can find, what does it actually mean?
Absolutely, because sometimes it is the smallest differences between these fights. You know, Graves 1 camp ahead, maybe he's up a level on a later fight, maybe they barely win that. That begins to snowball, as we all have seen in League of Legends many times. Nice buffer with the Bellows Breath there from Wayward to actually immune what looked like the knockback from the Bramble Smash from Kingen. It is tough fighting a lot of these melee tank matchups into Ornn. He just has such high base damages. When you can get that brittle auto off, it is really, really tough to win those trades.
Tian moving up, trying to steal away the Gromp from Pyosik, but Pyosik will answer the challenge. He's ready to fight back for this. Top esports bringing up both their bottom laners. It's Pyosik securing the Gromp there for himself, winning out in the smite fight. So even though top had more men nearby, it wasn't enough to force anything, and Pyosik had the better hands.
Top esports playing around their prio very well. They know that they had the push in bot side, but they didn't have pressure in mid, but it didn't matter. That's why they had to bring both bot laners up. Tian now just trying to put some pressure onto Zeka, but he's going to sidestep that beautifully. And now they move back into the river once again. A constant ebb and flow between bot and mid. Pyosik did have the smite earlier, but decided not to get too greedy for this crab, mainly because he sees once again JackeyLove and Mark looking to move up and offer that support. So overall, again, we kind of expected this slower early game from these two teams, and it's kind of what we're getting right now with both junglers looking to play around their lanes to see what small advantages they can gain across the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Wayward, though, has opened up a really big advantage, to be honest. You know, this is, yes, quite a bit of CS to actually farm, but he's almost taken the first plate already, and he has double the CS right now. There's, what, like 8-9 minions from Neglect if he can actually have perfect CS, but he's still going to be down quite a lot here in this 1v1. We'll see if he can stabilize later, but Pyosik now covering the push in here. Deft is out of mana, so he wants to be able to reset. But if they have the mistiming on this, if Pyosik actually finishes that recall, he does cancel it now.
Okay, Pyosik comes out, but Tian's ready to go here too. Looks like it won't turn into a whole lot more just yet. Tian and JackeyLove walking back into their own tribe rush. Mark trying to manage the minion wave as long as he can. Brings enough time for JackeyLove to come back under here and clean up those minions.
Yep, they do get the reset. They elect to actually stay around though, now that Tian has shown Pyosik staying in the area here, so they're going to try to push in one more wave. And to talk about what you were touching on earlier, Vetty, the kind of surprising results here from DRX, how good they really have looked. I think we have to give a lot of credit to Zeka. This guy has been so impressive throughout play-ins, throughout the group stage, has really emerged as one of these new faces on the international stage that I think so many people are taking notice of. He was good in the LCK, but he wasn't really one of those household names. And I think this is the first time a lot of our fans are really getting to watch him play and realize just how damn good he is.
Absolutely.
A lot of people were also skeptical around his synergy with Pyosik as well. I think Pyosik was a player that was very inconsistent and is a player that many people had question marks surrounding. But so far today, he and Zeka both had phenomenal games. Let's see if DRX can round today out with a 3-0 to join the likes of T1, the first seed of their group. The ultimate comes down mainly just to clear out the wave from Deft. We'll be able to put that pressure down onto JackeyLove as well, but now Tian could be in a bit of danger. He's level 6 though.
Let's see if Kingen ends up getting caught here. Still takes the damage from both parts, the Ornn horn, but he flashes the wall to get himself to safety. Pyosik's behind him, but there's a big difference between level 5 and level 6 here.
But
for the
Knight's here
jugglers.
too.
Knight's ready to go for a 3v2, but they don't have an Ornn ulti, and there's a lot of AoE between Maokai and Graves to just force the wave down.
And you can see that the read was actually there. Like, look at BeryL. BeryL was already running out of base. Zeka has gone back to mid, but he was cheating up towards that top side, so they knew that this could be coming in. Good comms again there from DRX to prevent what could have been a potential look there. Pyosik, though, going out for that scuttle is slightly risky, but with Knight showing back on mid, knows he's going to be safe to do it unless we can get a Nami steal.
Well, Pyosik at least getting his level 6 now. The collateral damage on the Graves going to change the way that you look at these short skirmishes between 2 or 3 players at a time. The burst damage extra threatening as we do get to start up the Herald here 9 minutes into the game.
And we've got to check in on this bot lane as well, where it's a nearly 20 CS advantage. There's a couple more minions for Jackie to actually collect here. But Deft is doing the Bloodthirster rush here. So we'll see. It's going to be this contest on the scuttle. Tian is cheating around, but he doesn't really have his team with him.
There's no ultimate on Wayward right now. It's very difficult for top esports to actually get this engaged, but Kingen is ready to start the fight.
Kingen's got his ulti though, and that's the big difference maker. Wayward stuck in the pit. He has the flash, but they won't let him near the wall. It's first blood over to BeryL.
Yeah, Wayward just makes it easy for him. Walking in there, does get knocked down. They get the Herald, they get the kill, and Deft loses nothing bot because he was able to actually fully shove out that wave first. Now Tian is going to try to keep Kingen away from top, trying to zone him away. Knight is moving down here as well, and King Zoom.
This could be a problem. There's a stolen Maokai ulti coming after the real Maokai. He's down, and JackeyLove gets the kill.
I'm so confused as to what has just happened. Mainly
right.
because top esports just watched that Baron be taken when they had no tools to contest it, when they could have just gone for a cross map on the bot side of the map. And then Tian does something that you just don't expect. He just challenges the Maokai as he tries to make his way up towards the top side, and then he actually calls the rest of his team to come and help him secure that kill. And now top esports have swapped to the top side of the map to try and funnel a plate or two into JackeyLove. He's going to be forced to reset as threat is now being pushed towards the bot side of the map for DRX.
Deft just making sure that he's keeping this wave shoved up. They know the enemy bot lane has headed top side. That gives him the pressure, gives him the power. Knight down to 1/3 here in the mid lane as Zeka shoves him back. Wayward on this bottom part of the map, just clearing out waves as Kingen shoves up the top lane wave into the tier 1 turret here. 10 minutes in, just about to hit 11, and he's still got 3 minutes left for this plate money to be collected.
So, the problem top esports find themselves in right now is that while they do have push in top and Wayward has been playing the matchup very well, Kingen came into this game assuming that he would be playing on the weak side of the map, right? Especially when you have something like a Misfortune Lulu and an Azir, your responsibility as a jungler, especially as a Graves, is to make sure that these lanes are basically fine. You cover them, you ward for them, you clear out vision, you get that early Umbral Glaive, and you basically just help control the early game. Top esports, though, it's very difficult for them to really make plays anywhere. They could look to try and gank Zeka, but the amount of poke and pressure he puts onto Knight has made it very difficult. And on the bot side, typically where you'd be investing all your resources, Deft and BeryL have just kept the pressure up so much that there's been very little that Top Esports can do. So of the plays that Top Esports have made, they then haven't really been able to utilize their windows properly. Perhaps now they can find their first kill of the game.
Kingen throws out the ulti, trying to save himself, but Tian's already made his way in. The twisted advance back the other way just to try to farm anything he can on his way out, but that's another kill going the way of Top Esports, 2-1 now.
And I did misspeak, of course, this is the second kill of the game, but this is only the real window that Top Esports have, constantly trying to attack the top side of the map. If DRX are fine with this, we saw earlier when they played against GAM how well they're able to make these cross maps. Tian trying to make something else happen on the map.
Tian wants to go after Zeka here. Pyosik dashing in front of him, tanking the stun, but then has to flash back underneath the turret himself. Tian is getting a lot done here with the Viego, just constantly trying to force things, constantly try to apply this pressure.
Yeah, nicely done, moving around the map, and now him and Mark again on the roam down towards bot. Deft and BeryL are still pushed up, but they will spot them coming in, so should have more than enough time to actually back up. And to touch on this Bloodthirster rush here that we see from Deft, he did complete it very on. Bloodthirster plus the overheal. When you have that overheal shield up, you don't actually lose the strut, I believe it is, while you are walking. You're not losing that passive, so it allows you to keep the additional move speed a lot longer, which is very, very effective here. Plus, you have all the shielding from BeryL as well, which is going to make it even more difficult to actually break and allow him to really kite in and out of these fights so well.
So we look back now at this top lane play. You can see the ping on the minimap coming down on towards the Graves, but he doesn't bother. He immediately just runs straight towards mid. He knows there is nothing that can be done towards the top side of the map. And Top Esports secure another kill, but like it's not impactful in the sense that it really changes anything. Oh, he actually missed the double ultimate there. The difference is, of course, Zeka does have the E to be able to dash away to safety. Knight going to be forced away from that one, but then they drop the Herald mid and they secure more gold for Zeka, and that's the most important thing. That's what I'm talking about when I say impact. DRX are gaining things on the map. They're gaining control and they're setting up for their future win conditions, whereas Top Esports just feel like that they're constantly falling behind.
And it's always one of the problems when, as a jungler, if your only option is playing towards a tank lane and you're not a carry jungler that's going to really run over this game, it's very difficult, because sure, it's like Maokai's getting behind, but Ornn isn't going to necessarily be the difference maker in these fights. Whereas getting the MF ahead, getting the Azir ahead can really be that difference, but it could be a smite fight here.
Looks like it's going to be, and it's claimed by Tian and by Top Esports. Nicely done, the Viego, man. Smooth criminal in and back out.
And we'll see, can Tian really get something for himself here, because he has picked up a kill from the top side. He's picked up an assist, has been farming some gold pretty darn effectively, actually ahead slightly in farm over the Graves, which I did not expect at this point in the game. So Tian definitely has the opportunity to try to go off in this game, but bot lane tier 1 looks like it's being abandoned. Kingen spotting out that Wayward and Tian are looking for him, using those saplings well. But his top tier 1 also not long for this world, so it's a little bit of a race as you can actually get that first tower.
And it is still 1,000 gold of a lead for the side of DRX, a big chunk of that being the turret plates that popped up on your screen just a second ago. It was twice as much money, about 480 extra gold for DRX through plates. And there it is, first turret of the game for DRX now too, as Kingen is trying to stop the wave here. He fires his ulti back. No minions are tanking the turret.
Oh!
This is absolutely beautiful from Kingen, who goes in, tries to finish off the Viego, and it will not happen. That was nearly sick.
Man, that's heartbreaking for Kingen. If he wasn't so behind, imagine if he had a mythic like Wayward. He could have been able to pull it off, but that was really smart. Goes, holds the wave, gets the tower aggro onto them, then shoots the ulti backwards and wraps them up there. Nearly had a sick outplay. In the end, though, does mean his flash is used and he goes down. Doesn't even get a summoner from the other side. So it does backfire a little bit there, and Kingen falling further behind, unfortunately.
I didn't realize that Mark was actually running a heal as well. I saw a second heal come out and I was like, why did Tian actually live? That Q should have been enough damage, but the secondary heal coming out from both the W and then the heal spell was actually enough to swing the fight. So props to Mark there, keeping his jungler alive. This will mean that DRX do secure themselves the Herald, but it's a weird game to describe, because if you're just an observer, maybe not as familiar with the league, you'd look and you're like, well, they have more kills. They're even in towers, they even have a Drake up. Why do you keep talking like DRX is just in so much more control? And it's because of the map state. Right now, they've already secured the bot tower. It's very easy for them to just walk up and secure this mid one. And when they have the range that they have, along with the damage that they have, sure, we were questioning the MF pick overall and in the context of teamfights later, but you kind of look there's such a big range difference between DRX and top esports that if you just leave the game in this very neutral standard state, it's so much easier for DRX to be able to play these fights later on into the game unless Knight can really pop off and find some way into the back line.
Yeah, and I do think a lot of it is going to be on Knight because it seems like a tough one for Jackie, who does have Cleanse to help deal with some of the CC, but if you are getting in the threat range to actually auto-attack, the potential to get flashed on by Kingen, to be actually getting hit by these Azir soldiers, to be getting ulted by the MF, there's so many tough things to deal with, and now Tian way too far in.
Tian very far forward, very far away from the rest of his team, gets caught by the ulti over the wall. Pyosik trying to chase him down, and he puts bullets in his back. The jungler of top esports gets a little too ahead of himself, and he pays the price.
Yeah, goes for the aggressive invade there, and Kingen is there for the collapse, locking him down for Pyosik to knock him down. And that was a shutdown, I do believe, was 2-0 on the play, so looking good for DRX thus far.
And a lot of the roams that we've been seeing from Tian, where he moves into the enemy jungle looking for these picks, are often done with Mark. A part of the reason why JackeyLove has been falling behind is because he's often found himself in a 1v2 lane, and while that has resulted in some kills for top esports, it means that the downside is the bot lane has suffered so much. This time, though, we saw Tian solo in the jungle. There was no support there, and he ultimately overstepped. So DRX, they find themselves another pick. 2.5k gold is the lead that they now find themselves in. They're in prime position to secure first place in this group.
But one thing I do want to comment on, because it goes back to what Isaac was talking about earlier at the very beginning of the game. Lucian Nami are currently on their one mythic. Spike, you've got the Zeal and the Serrated Dirk also for the Lucian, which are very effective component items. Some item components just sort of suck, but these ones are really good. And now I'm expecting top to try to play around that, try to find some use for that strength, if they can, because 2,500 gold is pretty ferocious at this point in the game. Everybody's hanging out around mid lane now as the waves collide and we vie for position. Zeka over the wall, not going to look for him.
Yeah, and part of the problem is that all of that gold is concentrated exactly where you'd want it on DRX. It's 1k advantage or so for Zeka, 1k advantage for Deft. So, you talk about that one item power spike that I touched on, but they haven't really been able to find any sort of an angle to fight. Deft is almost on 2, Zeka's already on 2. And DRX are just kind of in prime position to continue controlling this game, slowly pushing the pace forward here. They are TPing in, though. It looks like they're going to try to look for a flank from Knight.
They're going in. Pyosik eats a ton of damage. BeryL's very low now, too, but the Azir turret keeps them protected. DRX are able to fall back to it. And top esports, despite what looked like a nice explosive start to that engage, can't follow it up.
So now DRX are in position to convert this into the Drake, but the big difference in these fights is that a lot of ultimates are unavailable for top esports, primarily their engage ones, whereas DRX still have Zeka's ultimate, Deft's ultimate, and BeryL. Tian is looking for a steal. He cheekily took away the last dragon. Can he do it again?
All right, Tian's inside that shroud, trying to make his way forward. There comes a Maokai. Tian steals it, and there's still a minute to go for the fight. Pyosik's gonna be the second kill. It's 2 down on DRX for only the one of top esports. Ultimates be damned. Top esports knows how to team fight.
Tian just doesn't miss with these smites, stealing it away here again from Pyosik. Back-to-back dragon steals there are giving top a win condition, as Mark is going to have to flash out of there, but now you can start to see that light at the end of the tunnel. If they could get towards the soul, that's a way in.
Tian can't keep getting away with this, man. He's literally walking up, smiting, and then being like, all right, have a nice day. Thank you very much for the leash. It's ridiculous. Top esports definitely have a very clear win condition ahead of themselves right now. It is that stacking dragon. Let's have a look back and see how he actually does this. And just keep your eyes on Tian's positioning here. The ultimate comes through from Knight. He then walks up. Oh, and it's at like 1,000 HP. It's such a close smite fight, but then top esports see a window to engage. Wayward commits onto the wall. They end up getting that pick onto Lulu, but Misfortune is in a very safe position in that choke point to be able to make the trade kill happen, and then a good retreat from DRX means they don't lose any further people.
Well, I actually think it was so important that Kingen lost his ultimate tonight. If Kingen was with the team, he could have actually blocked the Maokai ultimate, and all of DRX could have stepped forward to actually try to challenge that and be in a better position to keep Tian away. But because he was on a flanking position, and because he allowed himself to be spotted and have his ultimate stolen, he's not there to block it. So Knight just throws the Maokai ultimate over the wall. Everyone has to back up, because look at the other 4 on DRX. No one can actually tank the Maokai ultimate. They just have to back it up or they'll die.
And that makes up for the disadvantage we were talking about beforehand of, oh no, we don't have our Ornn ulti anymore. Let's just use yours instead. Here's the engage, here's the play. Nicely done from top and from Knight. And the game is only 1,500 gold apart now as they fight for positioning and control of the topside river.
And that's why I think Sylas can create such interesting situations where you have to really think about even showing, right? Where sometimes you have the key ultimate and it is actually better to just hide in a brush and wait until that Sylas takes something else instead of giving over that key ulti.
There are Europeans awake right now, praying that Top Esports will find a win to give Rogue the opportunity for a tiebreaker to first. Top Esports obviously have had a difficult group stage and they will not be able to qualify for the quarterfinals, but there's light at the end of the tunnel and they are playing for pride and for Europe's opportunity to still secure first. Top Esports now have found Kingen.
All right, Kingen, it's time to run, buddy. Flashed out of the way of the R2, made sure he didn't get hit by the knockup, so he escapes the three-man collapse from Top Esports. And that, what's that going to mean across the map for DRX?
Exactly. It does buy them a little bit of time, but because there's not actually a wave right here, Knight should be there, before they can actually knock this tower down. So I do think Knight will be in a position to try to defend this. So it's not going to mean too much, honestly, out there on the map. But we'll see how heavily they want to try to commit to this, if they feel like they can still do it in the face of Knight, but I wouldn't think so.
Look at the minimap as well. You can see them moving up through the river. Top Esports want to make their way towards top, and Knight!
Oh my god, what an engage coming out from Knight. Zeka's at 100 HP, and JackeyLove knows an opportunity when he sees it. Top Esports hit him right in the mouth.
And Knight makes the magic happen. His Sylas is regarded as one of the best in the world, and he saw a window that not many others would. A beautiful two-man Azir ultimate will set up the Baron for Top Esports.
Deft still has his ulti. He can look over the wall here if he wants, but it is a bit of a desperation play. And now with Wayward arriving, they're going to have to retreat. There's no chance at a steal here. So top now will be in control. They get the kills. They're going to get the Baron, and we can watch this one more time. As soon as the Azir ulti is stolen, honestly, you got to back up. But he goes forward, hits the Everfrost, sets himself up for the chain, then clears out the wave, plus knocks them both in with the same Azir ulti. Beautiful stuff there from Knight, and sets it up perfectly for JackeyLove to kill him off.
What's crazy about this is Top Esports, all this early game, have kind of been collectively grouping up and moving. They've been trying to attack these silos, in particular Tian and Mark, how they've been working together. On the minimap, the second the Knight got into that top lane tower, you could see the communication was, I see a play, I need you guys here right now, and the movement immediately came through. And the fact that he even killed a minion to be able to land the E behind, Zeka thought he was safe. He thought, I can get rooted, but it's fine, but the minion dies, the stun comes through, the play happens, Top Esports get themselves a Baron. And
with that Baron, they are now set up for total control over the Rift with 15 seconds to go until the Drake that will give them soul point on a Hextech map. Zeka losing a little HP there. Jackie just firing off the culling to keep these guys back.
And Jackie finishes his third item off of that. Yes, it is Collector. Yes, it is a very early game spike here, but they are trying to play for soul. They're trying to play for ultimate power right now, and he is incredibly strong. But DRX unwilling to give it up. They're trying to get Pyosik in there. We'll see if he can get an angle for a smite fight.
Okay, here comes Maokai's ulti. But how are top going to respond to it? Ornn ult fired right back. Nami ult used by Mark. Control maintained, Drake secured, soul point acquired for Top Esports, and now with a stolen Maokai ulti, they might be able to find the re-engage. Kingen's already down, the bullet time won't do enough. Wayward will not fall, and Top Esports get an objective and a kill to boot.
And Pyosik played that so strange. He goes into the pit, but he actually spends his Q and spends his damage on Tian instead. You're not going to kill Tian in that situation. I thought when he dashed in, he was going to try to actually burst down the dragon, which was, if I'm recalling correctly, around 2,000 health. So I thought it was going to be, Q, auto, smite, all spent on the dragon there, try to look for the steal. Instead, he just goes in, gets nothing done, has to flash out, and Top are taking further and further control over this game.
What's crazy to me is we're yet to really see an explosive team fight. Flowers has been very quiet this game.
I'm chilling, man.
There have only been small windows where we've been seeing those kill exchanges, but as the game has gone on, Top Esports have turned that 3-1 kill advantage in the early game to 8-3. DRX, while in the early game they dominated the map, Top Esports have done what they do best. Find skirmishes, find kills, and convert that into control.
And honestly, you wouldn't be feeling that much pressure if they hadn't had these two dragon steals, because you still feel like, hey, gold is close, you outscale potentially here, but Zeka now in some trouble. He's being surrounded.
Oh, he is in a lot of danger right now.
Okay, Zeka, it's time to exfiltrate the hot zone. Metal Gear Solid Zeka creeping beneath the security cameras, making sure he doesn't get found. I think he can get away from this one. Yes,
Box of safety.
He's just hiding, he's waiting. I think he's going to escape it. The Zeka turret will fall, but Zeka himself gets away. However, because the enemy mid laner's gone, that means that top recognizes the chance to get things done here in the mid lane. Pyosik has to defensively ult to get out of the range of JackeyLove's culling, and top takes down the mid lane tier 1 turret. They maintain control over the enemy jungle and continue pushing forward and setting up vision.
And I want to come back to something Azale said earlier, which is that if it weren't for those 2 Dragon steals, and when you think about top esports domestically, and we joked about it earlier, oh, hang on, I don't have time.
I don't think BeryL has a whole lot of time either. He'll survive thanks to the Wild Growth self ulti. Ornn ult used for that one, just top esports fishing for anything they might be able to find, testing to see if DRX is ready.
But I think it's really important to illustrate, those dragons were stolen. Yep. It wasn't like a really good setup from an objective play map control, it was theft, right? And often when you look...
Larson.
Yeah, exactly. But when you look at top esports, that's what they do. They find these windows to outplay you. That is 3 times now that Tian has just won the smite fight against the jungle opposition. And when they played against Rogue last game, it was top, it was mid, it was bot lane. Now it's jungle just having the advantage in terms of how he is outplaying his opposition.
You're talking about stealing dragons. He's been setting up plays. He's been finding kills. The man is downright felonious this game. He is breaking every law that DRX is trying to set up here on Summoner's Rift, and he is the spearhead for this top esports war machine.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, to put it in context, imagine that DRX have 1 or even 2 dragons, right? Then you have enough time for Zeka to just keep farming for a death cap. And if Zeka actually gets to a death cap, you start getting really, really scared. But instead, they have got a challenge in a minute 30, and Pyosik's in trouble now.
Tian committed the ultimate there.
Yep.
Of course, it should be back up in time before the next dragon, but still, top esports, you can see their confidence right now. Wanted to highlight as well, Knight level 17. Yeah. This man is 3 items. He is in a great position. He has just been farming up in a side lane, and that early CS discrepancy that existed in the mid lane, it is gone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's going to be no IE for Deft. There's going to be no death cap for Zeka when they have to take this fight. Unfortunately, JackeyLove, he's also going for a little bit of a weird build here. He's already on 60% crit, not going to pick up an IE himself. Looks like he's going towards LDR to try to punch through this front line, but it doesn't mean his spike is going to be very, very late if it ever comes.
But of course, all these guys are also feeling good because they have the Ornn Enchanted Mythics ready to go. The Iceborne Gauntlet, the Everfrost, and the Gale Force on the Ornn, and the 2 big damage carries there. Of course, the next level, you expect Wayward to then enhance the Divine Sunderer of Tian, and then, you know, Mark's support, that's support life. That'll happen, maybe.
He's there too.
Yeah.
He's there.
Mark is also part of it.
Yeah.
Well, Mark is going to be integral in setting up for this dragon. 30 seconds is now the timer. Top esports have secured themselves 3, and DRX are trying to avoid a tiebreaker against Rogue. This is going to be pivotal in determining the outcome of the game. The top esports have their eyes on the Baron, and of course, this is an option we didn't discuss. While they are at Soul Point, what you can leverage is the fact that DRX have to make a choice. Do you want to come and contest at Baron, or do you want to give up the Soul?
Kingen is not that tanky here on the Maokai. Stolen Maokai ulti fly down to follow him up here. Kingen is down to 25%
Sylas.
HP.
That was Sylas
There's
AP,
an AP
wasn't it?
ratio
Yes,
on
that
that
was.
thing.
We just saw the root line, and then his AP went. Yeah.
You're used to seeing it like just do a little stiff breeze. They do 4 damage from the Maokai. All of a sudden, you're getting AP 1
Here
shot.
we go.
This is it. DRX is moving in, but top already has the Drake down to half HP. Mark fires off the wave. Pyosik will even be able to make it into the pit in time. The Drake is secured. The soul is found, and top will now try to get their way back out. Stolen bullet time fired off by Knight, as now he should look to get back over the wall. Tian with a defensive ulti, and DRX won't get anything there.
Did DRX go to Baron? Like, are they actually feeling desperate enough to try to just run straight over? You know that they're going to be recalling. I feel like you go to Baron, you start it, and you try to see what you can get done. Wayward is still in bot. He's killing Krug, so he must be looking for something for a buy. He does have his TP, and there's Hex Gates on the map. So I don't think that they have enough time, really, but...
Tian is already here, and he's gotten the best of Pyosik all game long. So just going for a Baron, if there's any chance of him stealing it away, you gotta think that that one's a rough call to make.
But now you can do the counter attempt, right? Because they actually had time to reset. Now you have the soul. You know that DRX wants to be on a reset timer here, so if you can clear out the vision, you can threaten your own Baron take. You can potentially pull them in. Of course, this ward in the back of the pit has not been cleared out, but it is going to be this slow choke out here from top as they try to encroach into the enemy jungle and clear out as many of these wards as they possibly can to pull DRX into what could be a game-ending fight.
And DRX has to be so careful with the way they approach this, with the extra value of the Ornn items, with the extra value of the levels that they have on guys like Knight, who is level 18 at this point in time, and with the huge power of the Hextech Soul. If top just finds one little way in, one little advantage, it could mean the end of the game entirely. DRX, they're trying to creep up here. They're trying to put down any little bit of vision they can.
Tian on the flank, though.
Knight in the pit. Tian looking for that pincer. Not going to find a whole lot just yet. Sweeping out some wards. Won't be able to take that one down. As DRX continue trying to creep forward, and JackeyLove will just push up the wave here in the mid lane. Still a tier 2 turret standing in all 3 lanes for DRX. And top esports regroup in the river.
Yeah, DRX just trying to buy time. They're trying to get Deft towards this IE. It would be such a big spike for them, but Pyosik pretty far forward is the way we're gonna look.
We're trying to find it. JackeyLove goes in. BeryL's gonna be taking low bullets. Oh, won't do much. And JackeyLove's unstoppable. A double kill on the BeryL and Pyosik. Top have a 5v3. That Baron's free.
Yeah, they're gonna take the Baron, no problem here. Pyosik gets knocked down. BeryL gets knocked down. Top in full control of this game. And they may be out of worlds, but they are showing what they can do on the international stage here, looking to take down DRX.
What an incredible game overall from Top Esports. It has been calm and controlled, but they've won it in their way. Of course, the Nexus still needs to fall, but Top Esports playing with confidence.
There comes the angry cats of the Soul and Sylas ulti. They will rip Kingen to pieces, and Top Esports will do the same to the structures of DRX. Tier 2 turret broken here in the top lane. Tier 2 turret broken here in the mid lane, as you still have 30 seconds before Kingen can come back alive. Top Esports now breaking into the entirety of the base. Top lane inhibitor, it's gone.
I mean, Deft was pushing bot, just trying to get an IE at that point. He knows that there's not going to be anything they can do to contest. They're hoping they can try to hold the line here at some point. But without Kingen alive, Top can just push forward. Knight is threatening the flank. He's going in!
It's a tall order to survive this. Knight here on the front line. Zeka into the stasis. Knight now buying a little bit of time of his own. And DRX collapse as it's Top Esports absolutely slamming them. 4 kills, 1 man left alive. Triple over to Jackie. Top Esports will win this game and force this tiebreaker here in this group.
What a way to go out for Top. Crushing Rogue, taking down DRX, showing that they are still a force to be reckoned with here. Battling their way back into this game, and what looked like it was going to be DRX in full control in the earlier stages. Their carries were more fed, but it was the jungle duel here between these two players, always going the way of Top. Tian stealing multiple dragons away, made such a difference, put so much pressure on DRX to try to take these fights that they weren't really ready to take.
Absolutely incredible performance here in these last 2 games from Top East.